Hello everyone and welcome to Metagame Mastery, coming to you today with more Dominaria previews, including instant staples in Standard, Pauper, Commander, and yet another infinite combo. It doesn't stop! If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Big time! Go time! Let's go! First up, we have Chalet, Voice of Plenty. She's 4 CMC, 3 colorless, and a white for a 3/4 legendary angel with flying. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. You can also pay 4 colorless, green, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This card is so good. If you see it in limited, snatch it up right away. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's also going to be very good in Brawl and Commander. Absolutely very good. This card is freaking fantastic. The only things that are going to keep this from seeing play right away in Standard is Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and Glorybringer, because she herself does not have hexproof. So these guys are going to torch her for exactly 4 damage the turn after she sees play, and then boom, you got nothing out of it. Once rotation hits, though, I really believe she's going to make a very big impact and be a staple in the Standard format. Until then, Avacyn, Angel of Hope, is her absolute best friend. If you're running a deck that has Avacyn, Angel of Hope, and Chalet in it, you're going to be in really, really good shape. She also plays well with Rodongbringer. Is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, white for a 5/5 legendary angel with flying, first strike, and lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. She's a Baneslayer angel that's also an angel lord. Oh, this is the card Commander players have been waiting for Angel Tribal. She's fantastic. Oh, amazing limited card. There's a lot of competition in the 5 spot in Standard. This is definitely worth considering in every format, but she's especially going to go well in Kalia of the Vast. Is going to go bonkers. I mean, these two are best friends forever. Dauntless Bodyguard also interacts very well with both of them. It's 1 white mana for a 2/1 human knight. As it enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control, sacrifice Dauntless Bodyguard. The chosen creature gains indestructible until end of turn. It's a fast Savannah Lions first turn, but it also allows you to protect creatures later in the game. Very, very good, especially with tentpole creatures like Shalia and Lyra. Very, very good. Or Shalia, whatever. Baird, Steward of Argive, is 4 CMC, 2 colorless, white for a 2/4 legendary human soldier with vigilance. Creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 colorless mana for each of those creatures. So it's a pillow fort card. Add it to the list. It's just absolutely really good redundancy, and it's also a nice effect to have in Standard for those go wide token decks. Daragaz Reincarnated is 7 CMC, 4 colorless, and Jund. That's black, red, green. For a 7/7 legendary dragon with flying, trample, and haste. If you would die, instead exile him with 3 egg counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Daragaz is exiled with an egg counter on it, remove an egg counter from it. Then, if Daragaz has no egg counters on it, return it to the battlefield. So, from a flavor standpoint, this is freaking sweet. The Dragon Legends are back from Invasion Block. That's so cool. From a limited standpoint, super bomb. Just, if you see this guy, snatch him up. So good. Outside of limited, I don't think he has any use. He's coolsies, but he has no use. There's just better things to play in Commander. There's better things to play in Standard. This is basically a much more expensive, much slower Rekindling Phoenix. Tellurian Scholar is coming to us from the professor at the Tellurian Community College. It's 3 CMC, 2 colorless, and a blue for a 2/3 human wizard and no abilities. If you haven't seen his video for it, it's hilarious. This might make your cut if you're going real deep into Wizard Tribal and Limited. Aside from that, it's just not going to do anything for you. Don't play this card. Sage of Latnam is 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a blue for a 1/2 human artificer. You can tap him and sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. This card's actually kind of neat, especially if you're going into an Artifacts Matters build in Limited. It could definitely see play, especially with all the treasure tokens floating around. Gitu Chronicler is 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a red for a 1/3 human wizard. It also has kicker, 3 colorless, and a red. When Gitu Chronicler enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is fine in Limited if you're going deep into Human Wizard. It's a 2-drop, serviceable 2-drop that can help get you back a removal spell later in the game. That's about all the use it has. Otherwise, it's just too expensive for other formats. Seal Away is a card that's freaking amazing. It's 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a white for enchantment that has flash. When it enters the battlefield, exile target tapped creature an opponent controls until Seal Away leaves the battlefield. So it's an instant speed, journey to nowhere, but only on tapped creatures. So it's conditional. That's still really, really good. It's instant speed, and when you play this in Limited, people are going to be attacking you anyways. This is really powerful removal. But on top of that, in Standard, it deals with the 2 most powerful creatures in the game right now. Scarab God and Hazaret the Fervent. Permanently removing Scarab God if they attack with him. Exiling Hazaret the Fervent, getting past its indestructible. And on top of that, it deals with Glorybringer. It's so good. It's main deckable. Absolutely. And even if you don't main deck it, it's going to see play in tons of sideboards. Divest, also so good. It's 1 white mana or black mana for a sorcery. Target player reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature card from it. That player discards that card. Instant Pauper staple and amazing in Limited. And on top of all that, in Standard, it deals with the same 2 ultra powerful cards. It gets rid of Scarab God, and because it does not die, it does not go back to its owner's hand. It gets rid of Hazaret the Fervent before they ever get a chance to play it. This is a phenomenal first turn play, making it extremely unlikely your opponent's going to draw into either of these in time to play them on curve. Very, very good. It's amazing to see them actually introducing answers into Standard. Karn, Scion of Ursa, is 4 colorless mana for a legendary planeswalker with 5 starting loyalty. Has a +1 ability. Reveal the top 2 cards of your library. An opponent chooses one of them, put that card into your hand, and exile the other with a silver counter on it. He also has a -1 ability. Put a card you own with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. And then he has a -2 ability. Create a 0/0 colors construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So the card draw ability is a little on the weaker side, okay? When you compare him to blue planeswalkers like Jace that can consistently draw you cards without the downside of letting your opponent choose which one is weaker and giving it to you, this guy doesn't seem very good. What a lot of people are looking at is his ultimate ability, because he's great in Artifacts Matters decks, especially decks like Brea or Sidisi. That makes sense. But where this card really shines. I'm serious about this. This card really shines. Is in Commander. Boros is desperate for repeatable card draw just like this. Duretti Scrap Savant is a perfect example. Mono red doesn't have a lot of card draw on its own. It can rummage. This deck is great at rummaging, but very little actual card advantage. Or Vegeta the Lion is desperate to get one-sided card advantage so that it can continue pumping it into its ability. Either way, all Boros builds are going to want this card. Oath of Teferi is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, white-blue for a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent you control, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. You may activate the loyalty abilities of planeswalkers you control twice each turn rather than only once. So this card's actually really amazing for Super Friends decks in EDH. Atraxa, it's an instant staple, it's going in there, and you'll never take it out. Grun, the Lonely King, is 6 CMC, 4 colorless, green, for a 5/5 legendary ape warrior. He also has kicker of 3 colorless. If he was kicked, he enters the battlefield with 5+1/+1 counters on him. Whenever he attacks alone, double his power and toughness until end of turn. This guy is the preview card coming to us from Commanderin. He's absolutely amazing. A potential beast as a finisher and say a mono green Voltron build. But where I really like this card, is of course in limited, because your opponent's gonna have to find an answer. And in Commander, he's great as part of the 99 in Xenagos, God of Revels, or Exalted decks like Rafika the Many. Either way, absolute powerhouse. Love the potential of this card. Adil, the Cinderwind, is 3 CMC, 1 colorless, blue-red for a 2/2 legendary human wizard with flying and haste. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, wizards you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So not quite as good as Prowess because it doesn't trigger on enchantments, planeswalkers, or artifacts. But in a Spells Matter artifact or wizard tribal deck, this is absolutely amazing. This is the Wizard Lord we have been waiting for. It attacks strong, it grows over time, and it distributes the bonus throughout your entire team. Wizards that normally are not effective in combat suddenly become relevant on many, many turns. I love this card. It's great for your limited build, your Wizard Tribal limited build. It's also amazing for your Anala build or just Wizard Tribal in general. Absolutely love this card. Goblin Warchief is back. He's 3 CMC, 1 colorless, red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior. Goblin spells you cast cost 1 colorless less, and goblins you control have haste. So right off the bat, this guy is a 3/3 or a 3-drop 2/2 with haste. Solid. But he also lets you drop more goblin spells faster. And he's going to curve really well with another card reprinted in the set. Siege Gang Commander is back. He's 5 CMC, 3 colorless, red for a 2/2 creature goblin. When he enters the battlefield, create 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. You can pay 1 colorless and a red, sacrifice a goblin, and he deals 2 damage to any target. Absolutely awesome. You can play your War Chief on turn 3. On turn 4, Siege Gang Commander. Everything comes in with haste, attack with all of it. Absolutely phenomenal way for you. And then the turn afterwards, you can start chipping them away for additional shocks in addition to their attacks. You can easily hit 20 damage by turn 5 just with those 2 cards. So much power, it's ridiculous. Now we have a foreign language card. This is Two-Headed Giant. He's 4 CMC, 2 colorless, red for a 4/4 giant. When he attacks, you flip 2 coins. If both are heads, then he gains double strike until end of turn. If both are tails, he gains menace until end of turn. So this is way too inconsistent to really see constructed play anywhere, but it's a very cool card and actually really good in limited. This is a great attacker. It's on curve with upside. Good card. Slin Bota, the Rising Deep, is 8 CMC, 6 colorless, blue for an 8/8 legendary Leviathan with kicker, 1 colorless, and a blue. When he enters the battlefield, if he was kicked, return all creatures to their owner's hands except for merfolk, kraken, leviathans, octopi, and serpents. So, this guy's awesome for frickin' Sea Monster Tribal. If you're building a Sea Monsters deck, this guy's great. He's also, if you're really, for whatever reason, going late game with your Merfolk Tribal build, this guy is a potential one-sided board wipe. But honestly, that's such a fast aggro deck. I don't foresee you ever using it. This guy's just really cool for that really niche Sea Monster deck that people have been kicking around in Commander. He's really neat. I like him a lot. Helm of the Host is 4 colorless for legendary artifact equipment. Equip cost 5. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. If equipped creature is legendary, that token has haste. Why is that important? Well, Helm of the Host actually goes infinite with Godo, Bandit Warlord. Because Godo, you drop Godo, he attacks in, you search up the Helm of the Host, immediately attach it to him. And when you attack, he creates a clone of himself. Whenever that clone attacks for the first time each turn, untap all samurai you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. While in that next combat phase, the clone's ability triggers, and it continues, so on and so on and so on, infinitely. And each time that clone enters the battlefield, you could tutor up another artifact, equipment, and put it onto the clone of Godo. So it turns your deck into a toolbox of equipment effects as well. Absolutely super powerful, 2-card, infinite combo, very good. Gilded Lotus is being reprinted, yes! Making it even more budget, coming in at rare in a standard set. It's 5 colorless mana for an artifact, tap it, add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. This card is so good. It's fantastic to see it back once again. Kuldratha the Gravetide is possibly the best commander in the entire set. It's so good. It's 6 CMC, 3 colorless, black, green, blue for a 6/6 legendary elemental avatar. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. That's a lot of card advantage, effectively turning your graveyard into an extension of your hand. Very cool to build around. It's going to create some awesome effects. Some of the interactions that I first saw when I looked at this was being able to play Strip Mine from your graveyard every single turn. Sounds good. Downright oppressive. And Glacial Chasm is a card that you can play, and you can play, protect yourself during your opponent's turns, and just let it die on your upkeep so that you can attack with impunity and play it again in your second main phase. It's going to allow for some very one-sided games. While you're playing and sacking your fetch lands, your strip mines, your glacial chasms, you may as well play Titania Protector of Argoth so that you can get 5/3 elemental creatures for every single time. And oh, while we're at it, let's play cards like Spore Frog that you can sacrifice and get a fog effect every single turn cycle. Or Tormod's Crypt. Yeah, you're scared of it, but having the ability to do it to each of your opponents every single turn kind of sounds good. It also turns your Lotus Petal into a situational Mox. Here's the ultimate tech, though. The best enchantment for you to play at the end of each of your turns is Standstill. Put this out on the battlefield and dare your opponent to play a spell. It's gonna be sick. And the card draw engine that it creates is out of control. Memorial to War is part of a cycle of uncommon action lands that they printed in this series. They all enter the battlefield tap, and they also tap for one of whatever color they're associated with. This one also has the additional ability, pay 4 colorless and a red, tap it, sack it, destroy target land. Okay, I love the Chrono reference, very cool. At the same time, that's just way too much mana for what it's asking to do. Not a good card. Memorial to Unity is a land that, of course, it enters the battlefield tap, taps for a green. You pay 2 colorless and a 1 green, tap it, sack it, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is actually really good and limited. Just a great way for you to continue digging out gas in your deck. Very powerful card. It could even see play in some commander builds. This is just a solid card. Next up, we have Memorial to Glory. It's this one. You can pay 3 colorless and a white, tap it, sack it, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Once again, it's just way too much mana for what it does. If you're playing in limited, run it. It's fine. It's just a way for you to get extra gas for your deck. But outside of that, I don't even see this being played in Commander. It's just not good enough. Memorial to Genius is a completely different story. This is a card that you can play it. It doesn't even hurt your colored mana scheme, and you can pay 4 colorless and a blue, tap it, sack it, and draw 2 cards, just allowing you to continuously thin your deck, draw into more gas late game. And on top of all that, I think this is amazing and limited. I think this will see standard play. This is actually really great for like approach decks. And on top, and in Commander, it'll do absolutely stellar work for you. It's worth running in all 3 formats. Memorial to Folly is yet another land that you can pay 2 colorless and a black, tap it, sack it, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, which is a powerful effect. Don't get me wrong. It's great and limited. Absolutely run it if you're playing black and limited. The reason I don't think it sees play anywhere else is Mortuary Meyer is a land card from Battle for Zendikar that, as it enters the battlefield, you put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. So it's not the same because it doesn't go directly into your hand, but there's no mana cost associated with this. And this doesn't see play anywhere. So if this isn't going to see play in other formats, I really don't see Memorial to Folly making the cut. That's it for today. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This has been Metagame Mastery. Peace!